So these used to be Image speakers. Image is a company, I think they're in Auckland, and they build beautiful speakers, and I must say they are. These ones, I got these from the recycle centre down the road, and they were beaten up and painting. They looked absolutely awful, and I still need to rebuild. I still need to do some work on the bases, but I cleaned them up, took all the finish off of them and refinished them, and really enjoyed them for a long time. I had them kicking around in various systems, and these are the original drivers. So this is an Audax driver, and I think the tweeter was as well. Now these weren't all that, I must say. They didn't sound that great. The imaging was a little bit average. These were Audax drivers, so they're only rated at 50 watts, but I must say they were absolutely spectacular, and especially when I upgraded the tweeters. So I upgraded to these Morel tweeters. This is the Supreme. Oh crikey, hold on a second, I've still got the packaging here somewhere. ST1108 Supreme, and there's the packaging for the bass drivers, SCM634, and I'm going to talk about those as well because that's kind of important. So yeah, these little things, if you've got a DIY project happening and you find a pair of these, you won't be disappointed. No, they're not the most butty drivers you'll ever come across, but oh my god, they sounded good, and with a decent set of tweeters, and they really it was a beautiful soundstage and a really beautiful thing to listen to at the time, to the point where I actually, when I moved to these Morel bass drivers, I actually swapped them back out again just to be sure I was doing the right thing. Now these Morel bass drivers on paper are a way superior driver, and it turns out that by ear they're way superior as well, but they are stiff as a board. Now I've been playing these for a while, and they're just starting to loosen up now, but oh my goodness, they were stiff. And so yeah, lots and lots of playing loud music to really try and bed them in, wear them in, and get them to loosen up a little bit. But in the end, it was a really cool thing to do. So this is them. So these are both Morel. Maybe one day I'll turn this into a 2.5 way speaker. I'll get another set of these and put another driver down here. I had a bit of fun with the crossovers. The crossovers that were originally in these Image speakers were a bit confusing to be, well, yeah, they were very confusing. I couldn't work out on paper what the crossover was supposed to be. I think it was down at 2500 hertz or something, but it wasn't that obvious. There were some components there that just didn't add up on paper. So I went to what did I do? They're crossing over now at 4800 hertz or thereabouts. So it's they're both Butterworth style. The tweeter is what is it called? Is it third order? Tweeter I've done as third order Butterworth, and the driver I've actually done as a first order. So the only thing, the bass driver, the only component in between on the bass driver is just the inductor. That's it. And they're all the crossover components are from Mundorf. The inductor is a beautiful copper plate, you know what I mean, foil wound coil, and the Mundorf Supreme caps, which I've used as well. which I've been using. I think I just sort of look. I haven't tried an awful lot of components. I couldn't tell you the difference from one to the other, but this is something that I settled on a few years ago. I liked the sound. I liked the bang for buck, I guess. You know, the amount of what you got for the value for money. I thought it was about right for me. So that's what it ended up being. And so the components in there are end-to-end soldered. You know, there's no PCBs or anything like that in there. And then it's a proper by-wire. So we've got so these Wire World. What are they? Eclipse 5, I think. So they're pretty old school speaker cables, but by wire. So into the back there. It's been a lot of fun, this project. I've really enjoyed cleaning these up. Look, you can see there's a few scuffs and marks on these things, but that's okay. I'm totally happy with that, and I'm really happy. You know, and there's other things. So these are the original screw holes for those Audax drivers, which I've just shoved an extra screw into. So you know, it's not a big deal. It's not perfectly cosmetic, but it'll do okay. And if I get bored of them, I can always put the covers back over. Yeah, and then in the room, so you can see, I mean, this room is it's actually pretty handy for an audio system. So I do have a sloped ceiling. It gets sort of higher up at that end there, but I got all of this room to play with. So I've got a little bit of extra room behind the speakers themselves, and then all of this back here, and then listening position, and a little bit of space behind there as well. What is that? Sort of about 600 mil or so, something like that. So that works out pretty well. It's actually really helping me with a nice, even, equal sound stage. I can sit here in the middle and I can hear, you know, with high-res music, I've got sounds coming off. I've got things hitting my ear from over there, and the same. This is a little bit awkward here. It's sort of, the left channel is not quite as wide as the right channel, but certainly I'm still getting beautiful staging all the way, pretty much as far as the corner of this cabinet here is concerned, which is pretty awesome, to be honest, and definitely a component of higher resolution music. CD quality music will do it. The right track, the right recording will give me a good sound stage and good precision. But streaming high res music now is for me a game changer. It really is adding an amazing depth of stage and a 3D realism that I wasn't getting with CD quality. It was typically a lot flatter than that. And solid state equipment is a bit flatter. It is a bit more two-dimensional. You don't get that extra realism and that extra depth from a solid state system. So it's kind of nice to get that back with high-res music. At some stage, will I put another tube pre in here? Maybe. I've still got that what is it, VTL 2.5. It's hurting a little bit at the moment. It needs some caps replacing. That might make it back in here again, but at the moment I'm really enjoying the simplicity of a system like this, and you know, just getting back to basics really. You know, it sort of keeps me honest, you know, starting with a simple system like this and just tuning and tweaking the bits that I have. It's a lot easier to keep track of. It's a lot easier to make a change and to understand what's happening when you've got a system as simple as this, and a lot easier to notice changes. You know, when you change a cable or when you change a component, that difference is so much easier to spot because of that simplicity, and that's kind of nice as well. So, you know, it's part of the journey, fiddling and playing and tweaking, and making something new.